Yeah.
Why is he good?
I think that Biden is a good president because I think that he's shown that he's willing to defend and strengthen our institutions. I think that the United States is only as strong as the institutions that we have.
So this is correct on both counts. Biden is a establishment candidate. He is all about the institutions, right? That is undeniable. And also, what is America without our institutions, right? That is law and order, that is regulation, that's safety, that is, the very essence of why we have a government.
You can have parchment guarantees from constitutions that say you're afforded XYZ rights, or you're guaranteed in the United States to be able to do some particular things, but at the end of the day, if we don't have a government telling you that the food is safe, or this medicine is safe, or your car is not going to explode at the end of the day, I think that none of those things actually matter, the parchment guarantees. So I think that...
That is correct. All of that stuff in the Constitution is irrelevant without a government to protect the things that are in the Constitution, giving us our rights and our freedoms and maintaining order and safety. Now, you can discuss problems with our government's doing of their job, but that is secondary, right? The fact that they may not do their job as the best as they should, or they may do a horrible job, that doesn't change the fact that, their job is very important. Institutions are very important, right? And if the institutions aren't functioning properly, we should fix them, not reject them.
Biden has done a really good job at kind of reaffirming our institutions, whereas I feel like Trump was a bit more negative towards them.
That's 100% correct. He's going after media. He's going after, pretty much like he wants to be able to do whatever he wants to do. He doesn't want to answer to anyone. He doesn't want to be held accountable by anyone, right? He is heading in the direction of being essentially a dictator. I mean, this is a fact, right? Donald Trump does not want to abide by anybody's rules. He wants to do whatever he wants to do. That is not Joe Biden in comparison, right? Joe Biden is not firing a bunch of people and trying to shut down different parts of our government. Right? He has been part of this government for decades. He's a dinosaur. He is, in my view, a swamp monster. So he doesn't want to get rid of the swamp. He is the swamp. Right?
The second thing is I think Biden has done a really good job at being able to actually bring different people in Congress together to pass legislation. I think that bipartisanship is really important right now.
That is correct. To a fault, he is very bipartisan. Let Fox News tell you that's not the case. But if you look at all the legislation that was passed under Biden, the only way he could pass all that legislation was with bipartisanship, right? And he's obsessed with that, again, to a fault. He will betray his base for bipartisanship. In fact, that super aggressive border bill that he was working on with the Republicans, which was, is leaning in the direction of Trump, leaning in the direction of the Republican and all their talking points, and he got a lot of support from the Republican Party. Trump was the one that crushed that, but that was a big bipartisan deal, right? So he's definitely about bipartisanship, again, to a fault. Even right now with what he's doing right now with Israel. On one hand, he's trying to talk about, there should be peace or a ceasefire. On the other hand, he's giving them tons of money and tons of weapons, right? So he's kind of trying to be in the middle there. That's not Trump.
How divided we are. You've got things that Trump said about infrastructure for 4 years that never got done.
100% true. Big talk about infrastructure. Didn't get it done. Biden got it done. So, of course, they have to pretend like, the infrastructure bill that he passed was all nonsense and there's nothing good in there. Try to highlight all the negatives about it. But the reality is, good infrastructure bill, bad infrastructure bill, he passed an infrastructure bill, right? At a minimum, you got to give him that. Trump did not, right? And then to go beyond that, there's absolutely many examples of positives. There's bridges being built all over this country right now. There's roads being repaired. There's a lot of things being done, right? You can choose to highlight all the negatives of there. I'm sure there's lots of negatives in there. But again, in comparison to Trump delivering nothing, he's 100% correct here.
we got to infrastructure building in the United States under Trump are tariffs, which are basically just taxes on our own citizens, whereas Biden was able to pass the
That is correct, but I think Biden is now trying to do some tariffs, I'm not mistaken, tariffs against China, if I'm not mistaken.
the IRA and the CHIPS Act, which both have like fostered a ton of new manufacturing that's been happening in the United States, which I think is really cool because we're finally building stuff again. And then I think that the foreign policy.
That is true. Trump talked about bringing jobs back and rebuilding factories. He made a big promise that he was going to bring back all these jobs, and he did not do it. And Biden, literally in the same state that Trump made this promise, he had the golden hammer or something. You know, he did all this talk, right? Theatrics, didn't deliver. Biden has delivered, right? I think it's a Microsoft AI facility that they're building in that same area. That's actually happening, and that's actually going to bring thousands of jobs, as opposed to Trump did not deliver on that. So that's correct.
Under Biden, I think that our aims right now are a lot more noble than they were under Trump. I think that regardless of your feelings, our participation with supporting Ukraine against Russia or supporting Israel against the situation in the Middle East is a lot more defensible than endless drone wars that we're trying to hide in Yemen, fighting in Syria, whatever other, the photo opportunities with North Korea, the back and forth with Iran, whatever kind of like mixed bag of undermining the United States Trump was involved in when it came to U.S. foreign policy under him. So those would be my.
That gets a little bit complicated, and I'm not really a big foreign affairs guy, so I'm not prepared to make a strong position on that one way or the other. I do not buy into this whole no wars on the Trump stuff. I think it's more complicated than that, but again, I don't feel strongly enough to have a position on this.
Three big ones, I think: defensive institutions, ability to bipartisanly pass legislation, and then more noble foreign policy aims.
Perfect. I will come back to you to probe at some of those things. Seb, what's your case for Trump?
I think in general, agree with him or disagree with him, I think he presents a good faith argument to defend Biden, and I'm not a Biden supporter. I think he's too old, as is Trump. I think he's corrupt. I think he's a liar. I think he's a fraud. I think he is part of a party that I think is an absolute joke. In comparison to Republicans, they look excellent, but I don't do this lowering of the bar that the Democrats like to do. I don't care about how much better you are than the GOP, right? I care about, in terms of you standing on your own. If the GOP did not exist, right? If the Democrats were the only party, how would I judge their performance? Not very well. Right? But if you do this contrast, and I realize elections, it's a contrast, right? You have to pick one, you're going to vote for Trump or you're going to vote for Biden. But that's secondary. I can, in that situation, in terms of voting, choose to vote for Biden because that's the choice that I have. At the same time, I can say that Biden is garbage, Democrats are garbage, and I don't give them a lot of credit for being better than a garbage party like the GOP. Right? Two things can be true.
He loves America. He doesn't hate America. It's really that.
And then more noble foreign policy aims.
Perfect. I will come back to you to probe at some of
Yeah.
those things. Seb, what's your case for Trump?
He loves America. He doesn't hate America. It's really that simple.
The fact that he starts his position saying something as ridiculous as that, Trump loves America? Really? How do you know what Trump loves and what he doesn't love? You think he loves America because he hugs a flag and walks around with the flag all the time and all this kind of stuff? So I guess any leader around the world that is always running around with their country's flag and all this patriotism, whatever, I guess they all love their country, right? None of them are just simply pandering and manipulating the people. Right? So I think that's a little bit ridiculous. And then on the other hand, for you to say that Biden hates America is ridiculous. Biden lives in America. right? He lives in America. And if America fails, Biden fails. If America fails, the Democrats fail. So that's not a good faith argument to say that they hate America, right? The good faith argument is that they're so incompetent that even though they love America as well, but they have bad ideas and they're really incompetent, and left, putting them in charge is putting us at risk as a nation, right? That will be a good faith argument, right? But to suggest that your political opponent hates America, that's ridiculous. And again, why, if Donald Trump is such a great person, why is he unable to make his case without saying something as ridiculous as that?
And he understands the institutions are either broken or corrupt. And he's not a member of the political elite. He wasn't in politics for 47 years like the current incumbent in the White House.
That's an absolute lie. Donald Trump has been in politics for decades. He has been part of the swamp for decades. He even admitted this when he was campaigning originally in 2016. He admitted that whenever he wanted to essentially control the government and, he wanted favors from them, he was able to basically buy them off, right? So the very reason that things are so corrupt, right? The very existence of the swamp, Trump was part of that. He was within the swamp, right? The only difference now is he went from being on the outside, right, manipulating the government, to doing the manipulation from within the government. But he has been part of this. You can't say he's not been out there just a corporate guy, whatever. No, he's been engaged in politics for a very, very long time.
He is not part of the quote-unquote political elite that clearly detests our nation and Judeo-Christian civilization.
He's not part of the political elite. He is a billionaire from New York who is the head of the Republican Party, who is essentially running the Republican Party as a civilian. You can't get more political elite than to be at the top of politics, right? There's no one above Trump in the GOP. The GOP is the Republican establishment, right? Those are the elites. Those are the corrupt elite politicians, right? And he is at the top. Again, why does he have to make his position for defending Donald Trump with a bunch of lies and misinformation and ridiculous statements like, my political opponents hate America, right? Why did Destiny not have to lead with, oh, the Republicans hate America? Why was he able to make, his positions, based in reality and not be so ridiculous?
Reason that working class Americans from across the nation voted for him in 2016. There's a reason that nation and Judeo-Christian civilization. There's a reason that working class Americans from across the nation voted for him in 2016. There's a reason that recently in Harlem, we saw what? We saw a black 10-year-old child chant out, "We love you, Trump," which was then picked up by all the adults around.
So, again, if Donald Trump is really such a great guy, why is it that the people who support him can't make a factual, logical, sensible argument to defend him? I mean, to say that there's a reason that working class Americans voted for Trump is ridiculous. Working class Americans voted for Biden as well, right? So that's not something that, the working class people voted for Trump and there's a reason for that. What? Every single type of person voted for Trump and voted for Biden. From elites to poor people, socialists, communists, liberals, you name it. Right? Every type of person votes for all types of different candidates. Right? It would be one thing if he said there's a reason why an overwhelming majority of working class people voted for Trump. Right? That would have some substance, because now you're saying that, a lot of working class people love Trump. And then you have to say, okay, well, what does that mean? That suggests something, some kind of connection there. But he didn't quantify how many people. He just said working class people voted for Trump, and there's a reason for that. But that is meaningless. Again, why is it such a struggle to present a strong, logical, fact-based, reality-based argument defending Trump? Why do you have to say ridiculous things like, there's a reason why working class people voted for Trump? What?
That young boy, Harlem, we saw what? We saw a black 10-year-old child chant out, "We love you, Trump," which was then picked up by all the adults around that young boy, because they see in that man authenticity. He's not a machine career politician. He's not somebody.
Again, so absurd. Again, why does he have to say such nonsense? A single brown-skinned child said he loves Trump or whatever. So what? Like, what relevance is that? What relevance is that? Imagine if Destiny, to defend Biden, said that there was a 10-year-old boy that said he loves Biden, and then people were like praising him, and that's why Biden's a great. What? Who the hell cares that one kid that happens to have brown skin said he likes Trump? You don't think I could find way more brown-skinned kids that would say they love Biden? Again, why does he have to say such ridiculous things to defend Trump? If Trump is really legit, why can't he make legit positions to say, well, Trump is great because of X, Y, and Z? Why is it so much nonsense?
With 21 shell companies funneling money from communist China, Russia, because they see in that man authenticity. He's not a machine career politician. He's not somebody with 21 shell companies funneling money from communist China, Russia, the Ukraine.
Trump literally has a bank account in China and has business dealings with China, an adversary. And he has connections with other such countries as well that are questionable. Kushner had that, was it a multi-billion-dollar deal with Saudi Arabia? Right? Again, Biden has a son that has been engaged in a lot of really disgusting and corrupt type of things, right? But notice again, Destiny, right, knowing this, to defend Biden, didn't say something as ridiculous as, oh, Biden doesn't have a son like Jared Kushner. That wasn't part of Destiny's statement, right? Pointing out that the other guy has a son that's involved in corruption. He didn't say that. So why is that, out of all the things, you mean to tell me Trump doesn't have enough good stuff about him that you can point out, that you have to resort to saying something as ridiculous as that, where he's so guilty of it? So basically he's lying. He's lying by presenting this image that Trump has integrity and he doesn't have all these foreign ties. But Trump is a known liar, a known fraud, and he absolutely has foreign ties. And again, the Saudi Arabia deal with Kushner. And there's much more like that, right? That is not a point to make in support of Trump, right? That denies reality and the facts of Trump, right? You can make a position that there's these bad things about Trump, but overall, there are certain things that I think make it worth it, right? Yes, his son, whatever. So I'm not gonna say, oh, he doesn't have these deals and he doesn't have links to China, because I know he does, right? So instead of talking about that, because I know there's issues with him as well on those things, I'm gonna talk about things where he uniquely is superior, right? I'm not gonna pretend like he's not doing stuff that he is. I'm gonna say he's great because he has great policies about such and such. Under Trump, he deregulated, which led to more jobs, or GDP went up because of the fact that Trump made these changes in the law. Right? I'm going to talk about the good things that he did, the good policies that he did, good actions that he took. But I'm not gonna basically be deceitful and ignore Trump's corruption and questionable foreign contacts and relationships. I'm not going to pretend like that's not a thing, right?
Into his son's dodgy dealings and then into the Biden family. He has authenticity and he loves America. The first time I met him, I've told this story on your show previously. I grew up in the UK. It was a very different culture for me to meet this reality TV star in his, golden tower in New York. But within 30 seconds of sitting down with this man, I realized two things. He loves America and he hates political correctness. That is the antithesis of the political class, whether it's rhino fake Republicans or the institutionalized Democrats. And that's why he's trouncing Biden in every significant poll in America. People see a man who understands America has lost its way. The elite on both sides of the aisle have betrayed America, especially American workers.
So if the elite on both sides have betrayed America, then you're saying Trump has betrayed America, because Trump is an absolute elite. He's a billionaire real estate mogul from New York, former Democrat, married to an immigrant.
And we need to fix it. That's why.
And is it really true that the Biden and the people around him hate America? I mean, isn't that an extraordinary claim to make, Seb?
It is. It's kind of perverse. But if you look at everything they've done for the last 3.5 years, answer the question thusly. What else would you do for 3.5 years if your ostensible goal was actually to destroy America? What would you do differently? Nothing. You'd open the borders. You'd give billions of dollars to...
Again, why is he unable to make a strong argument about how great Trump is? Why does he have to say ridiculous things like the Democrats are trying to destroy America? Destruction of America is destruction of themselves. Right? Who would want to destroy America? Now, the only kind of people in America that would want to destroy America would not be elites, right? With hundreds of millions of dollars of net worth. They're not the people who are going to want to destroy America, right? They have everything to lose, right? All that money they have goes away if America is destroyed. All their wealth and power goes away if America is destroyed. The kind of people that want America destroyed would be people that have nothing to lose, not elites, right? It's going to be poor people, right? Some anarchists or whatever, frustrated with the system, and they just want it to all burn down. They don't really have much, right? They're not making a lot of money. They don't have a lot of possessions, and they're just angry. They want to destroy America. Why would 100 millionaire Democrats with all this power, who can't even retire, right? They're so obsessed with power and the wealth that even being old, rather than using their money to travel the world and just have a great time, private jets and whatever you want to do, they choose to stay in office until they die. The idea that these people hate America is absurd. And again, why is it that he has to resort to making such ridiculous arguments? Logically, clearly, Trump is not a very good candidate at all. Which is why people who support him can't really defend him logically and honestly.
the greatest state-sponsored terrorism in the world, Iran, that every Friday chants death to America. You'd undermine our relationship with our closest ally. Undermine our relationship with our closest ally in the Middle East, Israel. Stop sending them the weapons they need to save.
Okay, this is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. Tell me your thoughts. Am I being unfair? Am I biased? I have a lot of issues with Destiny about some of his positions, especially with Israel. Right? But that's irrelevant. Right? The reality is his opening statement was more reality and fact-based than this guy's statement. By far. Not even close. I mean, again, look at how many absurd things he's saying. There's no logical argument that you can make to support the idea that the Democrats want to destroy America. So why say it? You can disagree with things that Destiny said, but they are logical and fact-based, at least. Subject to your opinions, but they are logical and fact-based. It is not logical or fact-based that the Democrats want to destroy America. That is cartoonishly ridiculous.